Alright guys, so welcome to a brand new video. So in this video I'll be showing us a very simple 1 minute scalping strategy, and this strategy is a strategy I've been using to trade all the time. So I'm just going to go through the strategy again and show you guys how it works. So first and first is you want to add an indicator called supply demand zone. All you have to do is come to this indicator, indicators, metrics and strategy section of the in TradingView, and search for supply demand zone. So this is the supply demand zone. You can see the zone is in all caps. So once you click on that, it will be added to your chart. Then you do a little bit of tweaking. So for this blue candlesticks, these are my bullish candlestick, my demand zone. So when I see consecutive blue candlesticks to the upside, I for sure know that this is my demand zone. And then when I see consecutive yellow candlestick to the downside, I know for sure that this is my supply zone. So the blue stands for demand and the yellow stands for supply. So once I spot any of this candlestick, let me show you guys an example of what I'm talking about. So something like this, when I spot consecutive blue candlestick to the upside, I know that yeah, this is a demand zone. So there's no need for me coming to the chart and start stressing myself to find where demand or supply zone is. All I have to do is just look at the chart, and in just 1 second I can tell where my supply is and where my demand is. So this is an example of demand. As you can see, consecutive yellow candlestick to the downside, consecutive blue candlestick to the downside, demand, consecutive yellow candlestick to the downside, my supply. So let me explain the strategy and how it works, and I hope you guys. Alright, so how this strategy works is and I forgot to mention something. This strategy, for me, I like to use it during the London session. That doesn't mean it doesn't work on the New York or the Asian session. This is just the time I like to use it. And for this session, all you have to do is come to this indicator section here and search for session. So you can add any of this. These are my 4 favorite ones to use, but at one point I was using this FXN Asian session range, which is this lines you can see on my chart here. So this is what I'm using currently. I used to use this one the most at one point. No, I know this third one, sections on chart. I used to use this one the most at one point, but I had to switch for some reasons. So all you have to do, London session starts by 8 a.m. in the morning. So all you have to wait for is a breakout. As you can see, this one did not break out. Let me zoom in. As you can see, this candlestick did not break out above the Asian range. So but right here, this one did. This one broke out, then retraced back into the Asian range. Then for a break below like this, we'll be looking to take our trade for a sell. So we're looking for a selling setup, not a buying setup. So once you see a break below the Asian range, we want to be looking for a selling setup. So price went up, went down like this. So before, back then, when I didn't have this supply demand indicator, I would just like see something like this and take it, because I wasn't sure which one was my supply or demand zone. And obviously, as you can see, this was definitely a losing trade because I didn't spot the right supply or demand zone. Clearly we're looking for a sell, like I said, since price broke below. But you can see there's a buy, like a bullish, like a demand zone to the upside. But you can see price even respected it. Price came back, retested it, and went a little bit up, even if it didn't go too up, but it went slightly up. So I wouldn't take this trade because my bias, like my trade bias, is sell. Except price comes back and retraces and goes all the way up and breaks above, then this setup is probably going to be an invalid setup. So we spot this bearish move to the downside, this supply zone here. So what we want to do now is we want to take a trade for a sell. We want to take a sell trade here. So you take a trade. So we'll be using the last bullish candlestick, the last opposite candlestick before the supply move to the downside, which is our order block. So this is our order block. All right, so as you can see, price came back, retraced back into this supply zone. Like I said, the yellow candlestick indicates a supply. Price came back to that supply zone, triggered us in, and you could use a pending order, or you could just wait for price to get back there and take a live execution on that setup. So your stop loss is going to be slightly, just a little bit of breathing room from the top of this order block, so that in case of any volatility or spread, you can be a little bit covered. You can even make it a little bit more like this, but it depends on how how big the spread is at that point in time when you took the trade. So what I like to do for this setup is like I like to take a 1 to 1.5, a 1 to 1, a 1 to 2 max. So if you are taking a 1 to 2 on this trade, this would have been a losing trade. Oh no, this wasn't a losing trade. So price came back, almost took us in for a take profit, but clearly retraced back. This is risky. Like in the live market, like if someone like a trader should see something like this, you're almost like close to hitting your take profit, and all of a sudden like price just completely goes crazy and goes against you like this. It's honestly very, very scary, like seeing something like this. Like from one point you're in profits and the next thing you're in a drawdown. Most traders would definitely close this as a losing trade, but I like to do something called set and forget. All you have to do is take the trade, walk the sorry for using the swear word. All you have to do is take the trade, walk out, and bank in some profit. I just come back to the charts and check and see if I was in profit or if I was in a loss. Because if I'm live in the market watching all this movement, I might lose my freaking mind. I might lose my mind, honestly. So I don't like to take a trade and watch price do its thing. All I do is take a trade and walk out. But overall price even went crazy. Like price went way crazy like this. So let's see how much profit price made. So you can see price made for a 6 to 1 on the dot. So let's say you're risking $1,000 on this trade, you just made yourself 6,000. Or let's say you risk as little as $10 on this trade, you just made yourself a staggering $60. Alright, even if it's $1 you're risking on this trade, you just made $6, and it compounds, it adds up. So let's get straight into the next part. I want to show you guys one more example of this trade. Alright guys, so this is our second example on US30. So let me just mark this zone out. This is the lowest point price went to during the Asian session, and like I said, around 8 a.m. in the London session. Around 8 a.m. is when London session begins, so let's say around there. Yeah, around here. So as you can see, this is 8 a.m. London session. So the first candlestick that broke below is this one. So clearly we will be looking for a selling trade at this point. So price went up, came back strongly. Back then I would think this is a supply zone, because why not? This is a strong move to the downside, but the indicator is saying otherwise. So that's why I love this indicator. So it didn't pick this as a supply zone, but instead it picked this one as a supply zone. So what I'll do is I would just mark this zone out like this, and take my trade for a sell once price retraces back, which is this bullish candlestick did retrace back and tag us in. Stop loss slightly above the other block zone, and as you can see, price went for a staggering 1 to 2.15 or something. I think it went more. Yeah, it went way more than that. So honestly, this is a good setup. If done correctly with this setup, if you use this setup correctly, it's game changing, honestly. So as you can see, we already won 2 trades. And I'm not saying this setup works all the time, but if you back test it, use proper risk management, and do not overuse it. Do not have like 1,000 pairs. Just have like at least a maximum of 3 pairs. Because I have 3 pairs here. I use in trading this strategy. And guys, trading is very simple. All you have to do is stick to the plan, proper risk management, and hone in on your craft. Come back every day, be consistent, and be a better trader.